Hello again, gamers. Welcome back to the Board Game Captain. I'm the Board Game Captain.
I'm Lynn.
And today we're going to be doing an update to a very old list we had done. I had multiple requests for an update to this list, and I've been meaning to get around to it. This is our top 10 advice for attending Gen Con. These are things to do at Gen Con. Now, we had done this previously. I had done it actually, the video solo, but Lynn had helped me with the list. And the thing is, it was really outdated, wasn't it?
There were multiple things that weren't applicable anymore.
Yeah.
So
we plus that video was very old. The sound quality was poor. I didn't have a good microphone back then. We have better equipment, camera and microphone now. So we decided it was a good time to redo it. So we're not going to do this like a normal two-person top 10 list. We don't each have our own top 10 list. We've worked together and agreed on each entry in the list and where they were. We checked with each other. We discussed. So we're gonna take turns with these, where one of us is gonna introduce it, and then we're both gonna discuss it a bit and explain why we've got it on the list, and we're gonna go through the whole top 10. Do you want to go first or second?
I'll go first.
You're gonna go. So you're gonna do the number 10.
Yes.
All right. Number 10.
Number 10 is to budget for travel time. So if you're staying in an airport hotel, you need to make sure that you leave early enough to find parking in order to get to your first event. And also between events, you need to leave some time to get from one event to the other if you're doing back-to-back events.
This is a lot more important than it sounds, but this is the sort of thing that we were discussing, like mistakes we made, like the first Gen Con we went to.
We didn't leave like any time to eat.
Yeah.
We were just like eating bars during RPG games.
Yeah, and you need to budget your time properly. This is all about budgeting time.
Yeah.
So now you were talking briefly. You said traveling to the convention center if you're not staying in a close hotel, and that's really important. I want to touch on that real quick. So if you can get a downtown hotel, so you just walk to the convention center, that's amazing. You can leave your car parked in a fairly, reasonably rated lot all weekend. But if you can't, and you can't afford it, you just can't get a hotel downtown, and you have to stay, say, like out by the airport where the hotels are much cheaper, you gotta leave early, even if you don't have an early event, because those lots, they fill up.
Mm-hmm.
And you'll be stuck, having to park far away and walking even further than if you stayed downtown if you don't get down there like pre 8 a.m. Because those parking garages, they fill up fast, don't they, every day? So yeah, and also you mentioned allotting time for food and allotting time for going from event to event.
Because when you sign up for events, you don't always know where they're going to be.
Yeah.
And you might have two events on like the opposite sides of the convention center, or like on the far end of the convention center, and then in like the Lucas Oil Stadium, or in like a far away, not a far away, but like a farther away hotel. Like one of the Marriotts is like by the baseball stadium.
Yeah, it's far
not
away,
it's
yeah.
like technically like it's technically connected because of the skywalks, but it's still like it's like a solid 10-15 minute walk.
And then on top of that, depending on what room you're in, sometimes there are events that may go over. And if there's not something that needs to immediately be in the same spot you're in, it can be okay that it goes over. So the bottom line there is do not book your events where one ends right when the next begins, because that'll cause you so many headaches, because you're going to wind up having to miss one of those events if you do that. So yeah, definitely budget your time properly. Leave time to get from one event to another. Leave enough time to get downtown and find a good parking spot, and leave a big enough break at some point to get meals. Anything else we should touch on for budgeting time and for travel and events and such?
I think that's pretty much covered.
All right,
most of the important stuff.
I guess we'll get to our number 9 then. Number 9. So our number 9 bit of advice for attending Gen Con, and this is a big one. This is one we did not screw up to start with. We've been doing this since the beginning. It is use cash. And there's a lot of reasons to use cash. So Lynn had said, and maybe I'm going to actually throw this one right over to you, because this was your idea and it was brilliant, and we've done it since the first year we went to Gen Con, and it's always been a good thing. It's the separating out of the budgets.
Yeah, you I like to separate the cash that we're going to use for food. I used to do parking.
Yeah.
But now we just like park in a close garage and then never move the car. If as long as we have a downtown hotel, we can do that. But we used to drive in every day. So then I had to budget for parking and then a budget for, buying stuff.
Yes.
And the reason to use cash is because, well, early on, some places had a separate cash line and credit line, and the cash line always went faster.
It still happens sometimes, I think.
Yeah,
it's
now
not as much.
It's not as often
Yeah.
that they have a separate line now. But again, you have to think of like the infrastructure is pretty good, but things can happen. The credit card, like satellites, whatever they use can go down.
Yeah, if the credit card services go down and you have cash, you can still buy something.
And then a third reason is a lot of places will not charge you tax if you're paying with cash. And there's probably only 1 or 2 places every year still charge me tax, and I'm like,
Whatever.
fine. Like, let me dig out 36 cents.
but also another one is with your keeping your budgets separate and keeping them in cash is a much easier way to keep track of your budgets, because when you're at Gen Con, you are in, it's like, I always jokingly call it Geek Christmas in August. You have all of these game companies there selling their stuff, all of these other just geek culture companies and all these things. You're going to see all this stuff you want. And if you're just pulling out your credit card and not really paying attention, you're going to get a shock when you see your credit card bill. It's totally going to happen. It's like that person who keeps going to the ATM when they're in Vegas. They look at their account after their Vegas trip and they're like, how much did I lose? Mm-hmm. It's the same thing. You're running around, you're swiping card, not paying attention. And then you're going to be like, I spent how many thousands of dollars on board games and t-shirts and memorabilia? But if you have a budget, you can periodically look in your envelope for your budget for games.
Like ATMs have like those little envelopes. You can just grab a bunch.
So we'll use an envelope to do each of our budgets. You can look in and be like, how much do I have left? Okay, I haven't run out yet. I could probably buy another 5 board games before I run out of my budget. I'm good. I'm going to buy this very expensive game that's basically going to knock 2 board games off my list. But then you won't go over. You won't accidentally spend too much. So yeah, I think this one was a really all.
And it's just easier to keep them in separate envelopes, because like when you're going out to the food truck, you don't want to bring out your board game budget envelope, which is going to have a lot more money in it than the food truck budget.
Yeah.
And you can even, like, if you're not comfortable walking around with the entirety of your money, which I don't suggest you do that. I suggest, hotel rooms have safes and stuff. You can just take out the money for the day.
And put it in your wallet. Yeah, put in what you think you're going to spend that day in your wallet. Or, like, I'll sometimes keep some money hidden somewhere on my person and some of the money in my wallet. And then later on I can... If I run out of the money in my wallet and there's something I really want, I can go retrieve my hidden stash. But this whole budgeting thing was 100% your idea, and I have found it to be really brilliant, and that's why I made it to our number 9, because this one really worked out for us. Number 8.
Okay, so number 8 is the food trucks and beer garden.
Oh yeah.
On Wednesday night, the beer garden opens on Georgia Street.
Yes. They have the first beer tapping there.
Yeah, and now this year there's going to be wine at the, I don't think there's going to be a separate wine garden. It's just going to be available.
It's going to be there.
Also.
Yeah.
And
the food trucks.
Yeah, and the food trucks, they do breakfast now. So they're there 3 times a day for breakfast, lunch, and dinner.
There'll be a fewer amount for breakfast. There'll just be like 3 that'll have like breakfast food and coffee, but that's fine. And
or like I think the donut truck like shows up for breakfast.
There was a place that was doing little like egg sandwiches and stuff. Yeah, and coffee, of course. But there's so many of them though, and they cycle throughout the weekend. So
yeah, they're good. They usually put out a list and like a schedule. So if you have a favorite food truck that you want to make sure you eat from,
you can look for where they are.
Yeah.
So the big thing here that we're talking about is that since there's such a variety of food trucks, and since they're always there, and a lot of them, I mean, every once in a while you'll find a dud, but mostly they've been good. I would say most of our experiences with the food trucks have been overwhelmingly positive. And then in addition to the trucks, they have like some food stands. They have the hot box pizza
and the island noodles.
And the island noodles. There's tons of food out there, and if you don't want to, you don't have to eat the same cuisine twice during the entire convention. You can always go to a different place. One day you can have soul food. One day you can have Jamaican food. One day you can have New York style pizza. One day you can have pierogies. One day you can have Cajun food. There's so many different, and I love it all. I love all the foods, and they're great. And if it's crazy busy, you can go to like Island Noodles or Hot Box Pizza, who are really fast. You'll just walk up and get something if you're in a hurry.
The Island Noodles line, it goes really fast. Because I think everything, last year, everything, they only had 2 things. It was like just noodles or noodles with chicken.
Yeah.
And they were both the same price.
Yeah.
So, and it was like $11. So it was
just like, boom, take it, boom, here's your noodles. And had like 5 guys cooking noodles. And then, if you want to get from the other food trucks, try to plan to eat in a little bit off time. Don't go right in the middle of the lunch rush. Be a bit early, be a bit late. If you're late, you may have to, some items may be sold out. That does happen. Like there was one time I went a bit late and the Jamaican food truck was out of curry goat, and I was very sad. But that does happen. And but being that I was late, I was after the lunch rush, I was able to walk right up, and then instead I got some like jerk chicken, and I was, it was still good. It was still really good. And some plantains. Man, I love them plantains. Number 7. So our number 7 on the list for advice for Gen Con, this is a pretty big one. This one was, I was talking about how the budgeting one was all you. This one was all me. And this is really important because, again, we're giving this advice for people who maybe haven't gone before and they want to have a good time, and we want to help you to make the right decision so that your first Gen Con is a good Gen Con, is a fun Gen Con. And this is a big one for me on that, and that is go with or meet up with friends when you go. So here's the thing. Gen Con is a madhouse. It is huge. It is busy. It is loud. If this is your first time going, it can be a little overwhelming. Would you agree with that?
Yeah.
I mean, there's a lot going on. It's like, it is
and it sprawls.
Oh yeah.
So
if you are, and if let's say you've never been to Indianapolis, you're not familiar with the downtown area, you're not familiar with the convention center, you're thrown in the deep end of the biggest convention that happens there every year. With Gen Con, there's like 60 to 70,000 people. There's tons of events. You don't know where anything is. There's tons of dealers. At least if you have someone you know there with you on your first trip, like if you talk to a friend and you're like, hey, I'm wanting to go to this convention. Would you want to go to the convention with me? And you get that going. Or, maybe an old friend who is in a different place and you both meet up there, something like that. At least you have that bit of familiarity with you for your first Gen Con. And I would even continue to encourage to go with friends the whole time, because we keep going as a group with us and at least one other friend every year. Mm-hmm. I think it really helps to lessen the overwhelming nature. What do you think?
Well, I've never gone by myself, so I don't have anything to compare that to.
Well, I have gone to conventions by myself, and sometimes it can feel a bit awkward and it can feel a bit overwhelming when it's your first time at a convention, especially if you're by yourself. So that is why the number 7 is to go with or meet up with a friend. I just think it's a really good way to ease your way into it and give you that little bit of familiarity, because at least you're there with somebody you know. Number 6.
Okay, number 6 is to ask permission before taking pictures of people in costume, and also like don't try and touch them without their permission.
Yeah. Okay. This one, like I
don't know if, I mean, they had the costume thing last year, I think.
Yeah. So okay, there is an area out in the exhibit hall where people can line up to have their if they to let people take pictures of them, and if they're there, that's they're saying like, hey, come take pictures of me, and they're posing and whatnot. That's cool. That's fine. But generally speaking, if you just see someone walking around in costume, and you're not there with a press pass, because if you have a press pass, you're allowed to film and take pictures as much as you want. ask before taking pictures. Don't just be like creepily following them and taking pictures. That's weird. Just say, oh, hey, I love your costume. Is it okay if I take your picture? Most people will be totally cool with it.
Mm-hmm.
And as for the don't touch them, I was joking with Lynn that most of our viewers, I think, would be fine with this.
Yeah.
You guys are very intelligent, and I think you would know not to do that ridiculous social faux pas of touching someone without permission. But every year there seems to be a problem where somebody does it. And it's like, just, you know what? Don't put your hands on people, period. Like, that's, yeah. Is there anything else to say on
No.
that? Number 5. So our number 5 bit of advice, this one is to sign up for multi-game events and also to just do random demos while you're walking around. So the idea here is you can sign up for events before Gen Con. They have one of the best systems for signing up for events of any convention of any kind that I've ever been to, where they have the event catalog. You can go in, you can see if there's spots, and you can be like, I want this event. You buy it because sometimes the event ticket is free. Sometimes it costs you money. It depends on the event. But the idea I'm getting at here with the multi-game events, or these are events where you can play a lot of different games, or maybe one of many games, but maybe you could get the event multiple times. But you can try out a lot of things, especially if you're not really sure what you want to play, and maybe you're newer to the hobby. First time at Gen Con, you're just like, I want to try stuff, but I don't know what I want to try. These are great for that. So what are some of the events we're talking about here?
Like the first exposure playtest hall. The ticket is free, but you only playtest one game. But I mean, you can, since the ticket is free, you can do that as many times as you want.
I think we're doing it twice this year, right?
Yes, we are.
So, and the first exposure playtest hall is a great way to try games that aren't even out yet, and you can try upcoming games and give your feedback to the designers. So that's a good one. What else we got?
There's AEG Big Game Night, which is all AEG games.
Now that one, it used to be one of our favorites. I do feel like the last few years haven't been as up to par as they used to be. I hope they're going to come back and get better again. But it is one where you can play a bunch of different games, and that is cool.
And they usually give you the games.
Yeah, they usually give you the games you try, which is a great way to just get some stuff.
Yeah, the tickets are like $32 though, so you're
paying
much
for the games.
Paying for the games.
Yeah.
There's the Hot Games Room.
That one's hosted by Board Game Geek. It's the BGG Hot Games Room.
Yeah, the last two, the Hot Games Room and the library, the board game library.
Yeah, the board game library, yeah.
The only downside to those is that you do have to read the rules yourself. With the other two, there's people there to teach you. True,
and that is true. But if you're with a group, it's not so bad. And with the BGG Hot Games Room, they'll have a bunch of the new hot games. That it's in the name. With the game library, you go in and they just have a ton of games. And maybe you saw a game in the exhibit hall. They weren't demoing it. Maybe it's a game from a year or two ago, and you're like, I want to try that game. You can get it out of the games library, check it out, and sit down and just read the rules and play it. You do want to budget extra time for reading the rules, especially if it's a middle to heavyweight game, though, because you do have to read the rules yourself. But in addition, also, if you're just walking around the exhibit hall and you've got nothing going on, like you don't have anything for hour and a half, 2 hours, and you're just walking around and someone goes, hey, would you like to try this game? Because they demo games throughout the day, throughout the weekend, all over the exhibit hall. And if you've got nothing going on and you don't got any place to be, sit down and try a game. Unless the game doesn't look like you would like it. If it doesn't look like it's up your alley, of course, don't bother. But if it looks at all interesting, sit down and give it a try. I mean, that's a big part of what the convention is about, I think. Trying lots of games. And yeah, that's why this is all our number, what was it?
5.
5. Number 4.
Number 4 is to be aware of your surroundings.
Oh, yeah.
This goes for people with strollers.
Oh, yeah.
People with large bags.
Oh, yeah.
Don't ankle chop people. And also just people buying things. Don't set down your bag and lose sight of it, basically. Like,
And also, don't just stop in a walkway.
Oh yes, don't do that.
Okay, so this covers a lot of things. Like, you kind of went over most of them there.
Yeah, you gotta be aware of where your stuff is that you're carrying and how you are impeding other people, or just be aware that if someone is like up against you and they're jostling your bag, it might not be just I don't mean to be jostling your bag. It might be a pickpocket.
I haven't heard any pickpocket stories, but I have heard a lot of stories of people putting something down and someone getting swiped. So if you're keeping your stuff on the ground next to you while you're doing something else, keep it right next to you. Don't like abandon it and walk off to the bathroom and stuff. Have someone watch your stuff for you. But also, in regard to the being aware of your surroundings, in regard to the people doing the ankle chops and the strollers and stuff, this is an ever-present problem. Also, the people stopping in the middle of the aisles. And don't be those people that everyone hates, because you don't want to be one of those people that everyone thinks back on and goes, God, I hate that person. You just don't want to be that person. So, all right, first off, the ankle chops. There are a lot of people will bring big roller bags, either full of miniature armies for war games or collectible cards for the tournaments and for trading. And that, I get it. I get why they're bringing it, and I get why they're keeping it with them. But here's the thing. Be careful, because people don't pay, a lot of them, some of them are good. I'm not going to say all of them are bad, but some of them don't pay enough attention, and they do what's called the ankle chop, where they're rolling along and they slam somebody in the ankle. And, if you don't want to have a good portion of your convention ruined because someone is screaming in your face because you slammed them in the ankle, don't do that. Be careful. Don't hurt other people that are just trying to have fun and having a good weekend. Because I've seen it happen where someone gets ankle chopped and then like the other person's getting like really, really screamed at. Like, it's happened. And in regard to the strollers, all right, if you're bringing kids, if you got kids that are too young to enjoy the convention, if you can, leave them with a sitter, leave them with a family member. If you can't and you have to bring them, I recommend the papoose rather than a stroller, because they're strapped to you. They're not going to be in the way. But this one, and this is for my concern for the kids, I see these people pushing the strollers, but literally not paying attention to where they're pushing them right behind people who are like looking in a case at stuff. And I keep thinking I'm going to one day see someone go to step back and trip and fall on the infant. And that's horrifying. Jesus, pay attention to where you're putting your kid. Do we miss? Oh, and the stopping in the middle of the aisles.
Yeah.
Why don't you talk on that, because they drive you insane.
Well, I mean, wasn't so bad last year because there were a lot less people.
Yes, but usually.
But like, I understand if you're trying to find some place and you're not quite sure where it is, but if you need to like stop and like look at your surroundings, there's usually plenty of space to like pull over to the side.
Yeah. And get out of the way. Pull over to the side. Like, I literally watched a group of 4 guys in the middle of an intersection, a 4-way intersection where it was too crowded as it was. There's a garbage can in the middle of the intersection. You remember this, right? They stopped, used the lid of the garbage can as a table, and were opening collectible card game packs. Like,
I understand why they have garbage cans in the intersections, but they really do just like block things.
But also, the garbage can is for garbage. It's not for you to sit there and further block the intersection with 4 people blocking, 2 of them helping to block in either direction. It totally messed up the intersection. And then I can tell you, everybody who passed by in their minds was wishing death upon those 4 people. So yeah, don't be those people that everybody hates. Don't do all those things. Number 3. The next one is to download the app and pick up the coupon book. Now, in our old video, this one used to be to pick up the program and pick up the coupon book, but the program's been severely downsized. You can take it or leave it. If you want it as a collectible, or you want to check out some of the articles in the program book, it's fine, pick up the program book. But more importantly, in my opinion, download the app. The app has a full schedule of all of the events, as well as your schedule of your events that you already have tickets to, and it has a map of the whole area, not just the convention center, but the surrounding area. So if you're needing to get somewhere, you can look it up on the map and see where you need to go. So that's really important. And last year there was no coupon book, but I think it was just because of what a weird year it was last year. It's been such a major part of it. I'm pretty sure it'll come back. Normally there's a coupon book, and there'll be tons of coupons in there to get free stuff. There'll be coupons for special offers from many of the different exhibitors, and it's really cool to go around and get your freebies, get your free loot, as well as if there's a coupon from a company you like, sometimes it'll be like, buy a board game and get a free promo that you can't get anywhere else except at this convention. So definitely pick up the coupon book. Don't miss it. It is usually being given out to the right of the will call line. You have the will call line all along a wall, and then the last booth all along that wall is the coupon book. So you just walk up and get a coupon book. Mm-hmm. Any thoughts on the coupon book in the app?
No, I think you covered it. I don't really have anything to add.
Fair enough. Number 2.
Number 2 is to take breaks. This includes just like, if one night you got to go back to your hotel room early just to get some more sleep, that's fine. There's plenty of seating around the convention center. You can always find like an open corner with some chairs or something if you just need to take a breather. There's usually
a quiet room too.
Yeah, there's usually the quiet room.
If you get stressed out by lots of people, maybe you might want to go to the quiet room. The quiet room is very quiet and relaxing, like a library, so you can go chill for a minute if you get too stressed. Also, talking about the take breaks thing, in addition to just taking breaks to rest, to get off your feet, to eat, etc., we've subscribed to
drink water.
To drink water, very important. But we also subscribe to the rule of 6, 3, 1. Now, the thing is, Gen Con comes once a year. It's the biggest convention in the United States. People go nuts for it. There are some people that always seem to try to push it too far and want to be like gaming 24 hours a day while the convention's going on. Don't do that to yourself. You're going to make yourself sick. You're going to run yourself into the ground. And like we always see it, like by day 3, maybe 4, there will be people literally passed out on the floor against the wall. Like you walk by them and they're just leaned against the wall. They were probably like, oh, I just got to sit down for a minute, and they freaking literally pass out because they could not keep their eyes open any longer. So the rule that we're talking about of 6, 3, 1 is get yourself a minimum of 6 hours of sleep, eat 3 meals, and shower once a day. And because the shower is very important, because if you don't do that, no one's going to want to game with you because you're going to stink. So you're going to be walking around a lot. You're going to be getting sweaty. It's the summer. It's going to be hot. Get your shower in. Budget time for 6 hours of sleep, 3 meals, and a shower every day.
Yeah, and along with like the taking breaks, like you can pack little snack bars and stuff in your bag.
Just in case you don't have enough time to get a proper meal?
Yeah, just if you need like a snack, if you just,
Yeah, you always bring like
fruit, like little dried fruit, nuts, like trail mix kind of stuff.
You usually bring those, what are those things though? Like Cliff Bars and stuff? And
they're not Cliff Bars. I don't...
Something similar to that,
they're like, I don't remember what they're called.
But yeah, little snack bars.
Yeah, and they're like Fig Newtons, but they're bigger.
But like we've had a number of times where we've been in the middle of a big role-playing game that's going like 4 or 5 hours, and you've been like, are you hungry? And I'm like, oh yeah.
Yeah, sometimes you just need something to like keep you going until you can get to real food.
Yeah.
And then also with the sitting down and having a rest, if you can't find anything in the convention center, just go across any skywalk to a hotel, and there'll be like immediate seating pretty much.
And they all know the convention's there, so it's not a big deal. They don't mind that you come and sit down. All those connected hotels have events for the convention, so they do not care if you come over and go and sit down in their seating area.
And now it is time for number 1.
Okay, so our number 1 is the biggest one because, in my opinion, I think Lynn rated a little lower than me, but we both had it very high. And the thing is, it's, in my opinion, it is the main reason why you're going. So it is, be friendly, make friends, have fun, and don't ruin other people's fun. This is all one big thing. Basically, the thing is, the goal of your weekend when you go to a big con like Gen Con is to have a good time. To be friendly, to play games with people, to meet new people. Now, all right, let's go through these one at a time. So be friendly. You're looking to play games with people. Don't be a jerk. No one's gonna want to game with you if you are going around being a gruff, entitled, overbearing jerk or something of that sort. So be nice to people. Just, I mean, it doesn't hurt you at all to do it. And because of that, you may make friends. Like, we have made multiple friends that we see like almost every time we go to Gen Con. We had someone we played a game with the first time we went to Gen Con, that now we go out of our way to meet with every time. We have other people that we've played games with at Gen Con that we will see at events that we do a lot, and we're always like, oh, hey, how you guys doing?
Yeah, if you have like specific games, like specific types of games that you enjoy playing, there are going to be more people who have that same taste in games, and you might see the same people at different events just because, hey, you like, these types of games. They do, so you sign up for the same events, and I mean, you don't want to piss them off, and then
for years to come, they're going to be like, oh, that's that guy.
Go to an event like 2 days later, and you'd be like, you.
Well, not even just 2 days later. Like, from year after year, you'll keep seeing these people, and gamers hold grudges. Oh my God, do we hold grudges? We really do. And that gets to the have fun and don't ruin other people's fun. You're there to have a good time. Don't be a jerk and do things in the game that aren't in the spirit of the game. I remember one time we were playing a role-playing game with somebody, and they weren't taking it seriously at all, and it was a role-playing game where we were all being members of Starfleet. And they were playing their member of Starfleet like they were a nihilist anarchist. Like, they were just, like, which is, you wouldn't be in Starfleet if you're a nihilist and an anarchist. Like, it's just nuts. So, like, they were playing it, like, totally loose and crazy, and even killed another member of Starfleet in the game. And the rest of us were like, what are you doing? Like, what is going on? And they kind of ruined the game for everybody. And the thing is, like, if I ever saw that person sitting at a table again, I'd be like, yeah, no. I just wouldn't play with them. I'd be like, yeah, no. That's no.
Here's my ticket so the GM can get his money.
Yeah, I'm gonna leave.
I'm out.
Yeah, I'm out. So, like, yeah, don't be those people. Like, be there to play in the spirit of whatever game it is you signed up to play. Have fun. Join in anything that's fun and in the spirit of that game, but don't do things that are gonna ruin it for other people. Don't be a jerk. Don't be, just remember, everyone's there to have a good time. Enjoy yourself. Have a great time. Don't ruin other people's fun. Help them have a good time, too. Does that basically sum it up?
Yeah.
So there you go. That is our top 10 bits of advice for attending Gen Con. Let us know what you thought of this list. We're also thinking of doing, maybe later in the year, a top 10 advice for preparing to go to any game convention, whether that be Gen Con or PAX Unplugged or, whatever it might be. So stay tuned for that. If you enjoyed this video and you'd like to see us do more like it, be sure to give it a like, share it on all forms of social media. And if you haven't already, please subscribe to the Board Game Captain. That's Captain spelled with a K on YouTube. And until next time, game on.